Na redu je još jedan diplomata koji važi za velikog prijatelja Srbije. Njegova zemlja je u 2014. godini prošla kroz brojne veoma dramatične izazove. O tome kako vidi 2015. na Bliskom istoku i u odnosima Srbije i njegove zemlje govorit će ambasador Izraela, njegova ekscelencija Yossi Levy. Here you are.
Thank you. Shalom, dear friends, dear colleagues, participants, guests. Mr. Choban, here? But still? Robert, our greatest friends. It's a real pleasant and a sweet occasion to be here at that conference, at that gathering, within the days of Hanukkah. This is the third day of our Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the Jewish Christmas, although it's not. We celebrate Hanukkah to remember and to commemorate a miracle which happened to our nations about 2,200 years ago. Hanukkah is a historical event. A small nation, a few against many, decided one day that he refuses to live under occupation, under humiliation, and he wants to be again free. They were courageous, they were smart, they were perhaps a bit crazy in our modern terminology, but they did it. They re-liberated their country. Those are the historical facts. But there is also a human dimension in Hanukkah, a very positive message for all people, that everything is possible, that victory will come one day, a victory of light. That's why we celebrate Hanukkah as a celebration of light, and we light those 8 candles, light over darkness, of good over evil. And where we are standing now, at the end of 2014, the world has to struggle against evil, perhaps more than ever in the last decades. So Hanukkah is a holiday of a miracle. And please allow me to be a bit sentimental or personal or poetic by saying that Israel, my country, is a product of a miracle. Israel is, for me, a miracle for itself. A small nation which came back home, a very problematic home, and restarted its life almost from scratch. We were, in 1948, when we were born, we were 650,000 people. It's about Novi Beograd. Now we are over 8 million. We were a very poor economy. Now we are not a gigantic economy, but we are scratching over around number 20. Our GDP per capita is $36,000. It's about 3 times more than Serbia. We are so similar, but not in the economies yet. We learned how to use the resort or the reserve or the resource that we have, which is the human spirit. We are not a country of huge dimensions. We are small. We are the size of Vojvodina in territory, about 20,000 square kilometers. We don't have huge rivers. In our biggest river, which is the Jordan, we have more history than water. We have 2 lakes. One of them is totally dead, the Dead Sea, more salt and phosphate than water. And the second is dying, the Sea of Galilee, because we don't have enough rainfall. But we have a very, very ultra sophisticated agriculture. We don't have huge territories, but we have great crops. We are supporting, we are growing our food consumption and exporting to others. We are exporting weapons to others. We are exporting diamonds We are exporting high-tech. Half of our export is about $60 billion per year. I think Serbia is about 14. I'm not making here competition, believe me. Your geopolitical situation is 1,000 times better than ours. But we are exporting about half of our export based on high-tech technology. Because we have what you have, people. Not huge deserts, not huge jungles, not huge rivers. We have people. People is the best product. People is the real locomotive for economy. People is the real secret for all. Good people, good education, devotion, that's the reason for success. Many speak about the similarities between Israel and Serbia. We are similar in so many things. And what is better than Hanukkah to remember those? Fighting for survival, being isolated, trying to do the best to keep our different identity, our profile, doing our best to survive in an environment which is not always so friendly and easy. But for your luck, there is one big substantial difference between Israel and Serbia. I don't see anyone rational in Europe which does not admit or who has doubts that Belgrade is the capital of the Serbian nation. And Serbia has a right to exist. I don't know anyone who doubts it. My country, dear friends, lives under threat of existence. People put a question mark if we have a right to exist at all. Not the size of Israel disturbs them, but the existence of Israel. It's not about kilometers, it's about principles. And this is a moment to warn from the concept of economy as the sine qua non in the year of 2015. Economy has a huge place, tremendous central place on our map. Many say, and they are right to a certain degree, if they don't think of the Middle East, of course, that the mapping of words today is a mapping of economy. And the new mapping of the economy is a new mapping of the energy. This is true. When the world thinks rational, it's to a very large degree true. Economy runs the world. But it's not the only factor. We live in a world which is polarized, more than before. Beside a rational world which thinks of investments and growth and welfare and success and respect, there is another world which is growing just beyond our fences, beyond our courtyards, beyond our homes. And I come from the Middle East, closer to me, but also to you, and also to European capitals. That's a very dark creature which crawls from the vacuum of the new world. They don't think about economical terms. Those who murdered 143 pupils in Peshawar, Pakistan, did not do it because they were hungry or because they wanted a better economy. They did it because they were bad people. And those who did the 9/11 did not do it because they were driven by the wish to deepen the treasures of the third world, but because they had a very dangerous ideology. So their world is ideology-driven, not necessarily based on facts, on numbers, but based on an ideology which is extremely dangerous. And when we speak about healthy economy, cooperation, Belgrade hosts the most magnificent summit of 16+1, a big one, and I salute Belgrade for that. Let us not forget the other forces which are against the principles of our civilization. It's not necessarily Judeo-Christian. It's the civilization of Judeo-Christian and Muslim, moderate Muslim civilization, who want to annihilate and to destroy. It's not only an academic dilemma, it has very practical means. We in Israel think what to do with our neighbor, Gaza. Unlike the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, the capital is Ramallah. It's one country, but it's two different regimes, which speaks rationally and speaks about cooperation. We are not happy with their method of cooperation, but still, we know where it's leading to. Our dialogue with our Palestinian neighbors is leading to an establishment of a Palestinian state, which will live, hopefully, side by side Israel. We want, as they, I hope, want, a peaceful divorce. We don't want to live as one family under one roof. We want to split. Legitimate? Legitimate. We want to be alone. They want to have their identity. We want to have our identity. And we are talking about the division of the flat that we shared until today. And the discussion is very vivid. Who will get the living room and who will get the kitchen? Who will have Jerusalem? We say that's our capital for the last 3,000 years, indivisible. But still, we know 1/3 of the people of Jerusalem are not Jewish, and they perhaps don't want to be Israeli. We are not blind, and we are not deaf. We are speaking about division of topography, of territories, swapping of territories. The map is more or less clear with those who sit in Ramallah, because they are a political movement, not a religious movement, and they think, we hope, and we want to believe rationally about establishment of a homeland. It's not easy to establish a country. It's easier to go to New York and to collect fingers and to get great salute to be free. They have an automatic majority. I don't condemn them for that. They do what is easier for them. The world understands them and favors them. But when you look at the details, they have to build their statehood, to talk to the neighbors, not to run, to fly 11 hours to Washington or to New York, but to drive 15 minutes to Jerusalem and talk to us. But we know where it's leading to a division of the country into two. But about Gaza, it's a totally different story. They are driven by ideology, and they don't expect the existence of the other. So we have also a very genuine debate in Israel. If you give them better economy, better roads, open factories, will they accept the modern thought, be more moderate, accept your existence or not? It's an open question. I don't think there is a school answer for that. Look what happened in Iraq and in Afghanistan. And many people in Paris and in Copenhagen and in Malmö, I don't want to speak about Balkan states, have a very similar dilemma. What is the day to absorb those who think different? Giving them a better economy, better chances, will it eliminate a problem? Numbers are the solution? Or are we perhaps bypassing the main mine on the road, which is ideology, education, hatred, acceptance of the other? So in the beginning of 2015, we have huge dilemmas and challenges. Economy is a leading one, but not the only one. In my country, Israel, we are quite satisfied with our economy achievements. We almost did it. We are not very happy, but we are quite satisfied. We found natural gas recently. In 2 or 3 years, we'll start perhaps to export natural gas to other countries. I can think of a name to the stream, the Holy Stream. We have a very solid economy, very successful one. It has good days and worse days, but it's based on the human spirit, not on oil, not on gold, on high-tech, of production, of achievements, of initiative, of startups. Every year, about 1,000 startups are introduced in Israel. I almost call them smart-ups. 1,000. I want to see it in Serbia. We are talking to Serbia to go hand in hand in that corridor which leads to a startup nation. Not all of them are succeeding. The majority are failing. But we learned in Israel that it's not bad to fail. You fail and you restart. We found, I think, and I hope, the key for a smart economy, which is the quality of our brain. That's the real key for success in 2015. But we are very unhappy with the political or the geopolitical episodes which are happening around Israel. We are surrounded by semi-states, by regimes which their stability is questionable. Syria is bleeding. Iraq doesn't exist as a sovereign state. Lebanon lives under the shadow of Syria. Hopefully, Egypt and Jordan are stable enough with whom we can coordinate and cooperate and build a stable Middle East. We are far away from what we could have been a few years ago. In the eve of 2015, I want to wish Serbia to find the right solution, the right way, as I said before, the right corridor, to lead your talents into productivity. You deserve it. There are so many similarities between the Israelis and the Serbs, and I do believe that a creative mind, initiative, is one of them. I would like to thank you very much for listening. And if there is a question, a remark, I would be very happy to refer to or to answer. Thank you very much.
There is no question.
No question.
Oh,
there is.
One question.
Okay. You don't have to, you know.
My name is Philip. I'm a student of the Faculty of Political Science. First, I'll wish you happy Hanukkah. And second is my question. Today, there's a lot of talk about new law that you're implementing in your law system about that Israel is a state of Jewish people and the rest. I just want your comment about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Philip, right? Yeah. Well, Israel is the state of the Jewish people. However, we are a democratic state with a very solid and a very free non-Jewish minority of approximately 22%. I don't know any Middle Eastern country which population enjoys so many liberties as in Israel, Jews and non-Jews. We are a real democracy. However, I'm not sure that that law, which has which raised a lot of criticism inside itself, in Israel itself, will pass simply because we have new elections soon. On the 17th of March, we are going to have new elections, a new parliament, and I'm, to that moment, not sure that the law will come to its legislature procedure at the end. Personally, I think that the law is legitimate. It says that Israel is the homeland of the Jewish people, and it's not sluchayno. Because while we are talking, if you have 2 minutes to give me more, I will say to you why the law was born. Well, some say in Israel, the law was born in order to make the opposition angry. In Israel, as in other countries, if you sound very patriotic, you get more votes. It happens. We are very weird, but we are also the same. But those who advocate for the law, and there are many, I'm one of them, would like to remind that our neighbors have a very strange approach towards the recognition of Israel. When I speak about the neighbors, I mean about our Palestinian neighbors. They want to be recognized. We do recognize them. But when you ask them to recognize you, well, they lose their words. They recognize Israel, but not as a Jewish state, as a state of its own citizens. And it's not an empty language. It's not only semantics, because on that issue they are ready to torpedoize and to endanger the whole dialogue. That's why we do not close an agreement with them. If it would be only semantics, they would not be stubborn so much as they are. And why is hiding there? In a way, they believe that Israel, the only Jewish country in the world, only 20,000 square kilometers, has no right to be a Jewish state. They believe that in the future, through demography, you know what is demography? The minority of Israel, which is now 21, 22%, will be 27, 33, 37, 47, 52%, and that's the end of my dream to be free and to be a majority in a little tiny place on the world. That's the idea of Zionism, of the return home to Zion, to be a majority in a small place, not in 1 million square kilometers, but in a place which is ours. We believe that we have one place in the world, tiny and small and problematic, between swamps and problems and deserts, which is ours. We were born there, and that's our place. We want to be a majority there, not a minority. Of course, we can't do anything against demography, but we want them to realize that the idea to make Israel in the future a binational state is not realistic. It's not a starter for a negotiation. It doesn't say that. It's not a best proof for being bona fide when they come to negotiate with us. They should understand that the solution goes through division of two states, two home states, a Jewish Israel and a Palestinian Palestine. In 1947, the United Nations, on the 29th of November, decided to establish two states in Palestine of that time. A Jewish state, it says about 30 times in the resolution, Jewish state, not binational, Jewish state, and an Arab state. We want to do it. We want to close the circle that was open in 1947, if not before, and to open a new page of real recognition. They want to be recognized. Hallelujah, we recognize them. They have a right to be free. They should also recognize us as a Jewish people which has a right to be free in its home, not in Argentina as a state, not in Serbia as a state, but it is in Israel. There, we are not a minority. There, we are a majority in one little place. That's the whole story.
Thank you very
That's
much.
all. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I have another question. My name is Milena, and I'm a student of economy and administration at University PEFA.
University of?
Sorry?
University of?
It's called FEFA, Faculty of Economy and
Okay,
Administration.
please. I didn't hear you.
You said that human spirit is the most important resource, that good people, good education, quality of the brain, the initiative. And tell me, how did you come to that point in Israel? What's your, how can I say it? Sorry.
You can say it in Hebrew.
Advice. What's your advice for Serbia?
It's a good question. Your was also good, Philip. Don't be envious. Look, we had our bad times as well. And I'm not saying that we are a perfect success story. If someone thinks that I'm saying that we are not. I said we are relatively a success story. We could have been better if we were not dealing with self-defense, with tanks. When Jews were creating, I don't know, aircrafts. Never. We were creating economies all over the world. But now we are dealing with self-defense. It's another dimension of our history. But we had also bad times in our economy. The worst was in the 80s. In 1983, 1984, we had an inflation of about 400% per year. We didn't know really what we want to grow. Oranges, as the old Israeli economy from the 20s, from the 30s, diamonds, shaping diamonds, polishing diamonds, as we did in the 50s, in the 60s. Weapons, we do it, but we don't love to do it. We found the high tech. There was the middle and the end of the 80s was a huge revolution in Israel. In the beginning of the 90s, Israel was a new economy with drastic measures taken by President, who became later President Shimon Peres. He was then the Minister of Treasure, devaluating the coin, the currency, the shekel, taking drastic steps in the public administration, and investing in those ecologic systems for young people who want to have startups. We called it other names, incubators for creation, creativity, and so on. The state was financing and ensuring, in a way, paying young people to think smart. Some of those initiatives were very profitable for those who did it, but also for the state. They were sold to others, like Waze, like others. And Israel benefited millions, hundreds of millions, even by the taxation of that. So the country can do things which individuals cannot. It's a state decision. It's a state decision to invest in young people and in less young people, in their brains, in their creativity, in their abilities, in their imagination. Imagination has no borders. Young people speak international language, and Serbia has it. I'm quite sure that Serbia will do it. We offered our humble assistance and good advice to the relevant people in Serbia. And they are very much willing. They understand. As I said, we are so similar in our size of population. You are 7.5 million, we are 8 million. We always repeat the history, but history has also some implications. In our need to be autarkic, to lean on our own facilities and qualities, in our nature, the Serbian nature is also very similar to ours. Look at you, full of impulse, full of energies. It reminds me of my people. So I'm very much optimistic. Not immediately, but to the medium range, I'm very much optimistic that Serbia will adopt adopt and adapt some methods which will be good for your future based on investing in the individual.
Good voice for the end. Thank you.
Thank you
very
for
much for listening.
Answer.
And happy Hanukkah.